My name is Clarence Lick. I was a button cutter in the early 1940s. These were the declining years of pearl button cutting. The button industry began in Muscatine in the 1890s and finished in the 1950s. I grew up in South Muscatine on 306 Clinton Street. My father had a button cutting factory behind our house. We had 13 machines there, and from my early childhood up to my adult, our backyard was filled with shell piles. Shells would come in various sizes, and my father would have to sort them according to different sizes. This is a typical button cutting machine used to cut button blanks. The machines were used in large and very small factories. The machines are lined up on long wooden benches. They are placed about a foot apart. They look similar to the large picture on the wall. I'll show you the different parts of the machine and their purposes. This part is called a pusher. It has a barrel that extends by turning the handle forward to push the barrel forward, and you return the barrel by turning it backwards. A wooden plug is inserted into the end of the barrel so that when the saw cuts through the shell, the saw won't be damaged. This shaft has a hollow chuck. Into the chuck, you insert a saw, which comes in various sizes. Large buttons and smaller buttons. You can have smaller than this one right here. The saw consists of a spool, this here one, and a saw blank, which is a circular piece of steel. The saw blank is inserted into the spool, and we have a small piece of metal, it's called a key. You insert it into this slot here, and it's made firm by hammering it in tight. You leave a little bit of the saw protruding out of the end. The saw is firmly secured in the chuck with a hammer and must be perfectly lined up. I'll show you how we line the saw up. We took the spool and tapped it into the chuck and made it pretty firm. And then we took a hammer like this, and we took an ordinary piece of chalk, and with the power on and the saw revolving, we just barely tapped the chalk up against the spool, and that gave us a high spot there. Then we take and shut the power off, turn this spool around, and tap where that chalk mark was. We continued doing that until we got a perfectly round chalk mark around the saw, and that told us that the saw was completely lined up. Teeth are filed onto the protruding end. These are similar to ones you would find on a wood carpenter saw. The waterworks is connected to a water supply and is similar to the one I'm showing you here. The waterworks is installed in the housing so that the tiny streams of water can be aimed at the revolving saw to wash away the lime dust. The button blank travels through the hollow chuck, which has a hole in it, and the button blank drops into a bucket under the machine. The revolutions of the saw are very important. The smaller the button being cut, the faster the machine can be ran. Larger buttons will require slower revolutions to allow the saw a chance to cut properly. The speed is governed by a three-step pulley on the shaft. The power supplied to this pulley by a belt from the main power source, which is located near the floor. A long shaft, which has a pulley located under each machine, supplies power by means of the belt. Power, in many cases, is a large motor at the end of the shaft. This is a hopper, this here is the hopper, which holds the shells to be cut. The shells are all about the same size. The shells have been soaking in vats of water to soften them. 55-gallon barrels are also used to soak the shells. The picture on the wall shows men taking shells out of the water. We have a 3-corner file. I'm going to insert teeth onto the protruding end of the saw. And what we did, if we started down there, we had a light coming down here so we could see. We'd start cutting into the saw like that, and then we file it down so deep. We put smaller teeth on the buttons that are going to be, the smaller buttons we're going to cut, and the larger teeth on the larger buttons that we would cut. Then I proceed to go clear around the whole saw, filing in a set of teeth. Then I would take this tool, which is we call the set. It's got little slits in the ends of here. And what I'll do, I have to start each tooth. You have to bend one end slightly, and then bend the next one out slightly, the next one in and out until you go clear around the whole saw. The purpose of that is so that the water jets can come in here and wash the lime dust away, and also to keep the saw from binding in the shell. I will now demonstrate the button cutting. We use tongs like these, and we have different sizes. You can see them here in the background here. We have tongs for small shells and for the real large shells. I'll use this set of tongs here. You take the shell and insert it in the tong like so. With the motor turned on, this revolving at the speed determined by the size of button you're going to cut. With the water turned on, you take and put the shell up against the wooden plug and turn this handle here, and just keep turning the handle slowly until you feel it go through you feel it slowly go through the end of the shell, and then you return it like that. And then you move the shell just a little bit and go through the whole same process until you get the number of buttons you want to cut from that shell out of that plane. Go to a larger one, take a shell like that, you insert it just the same way, and you go through the same process. But when you cut a large button, you have to turn this handle slower to give the saw ample time to cut and to disperse the lime dust that's been made by the cutting saw. And you take and remove it and keep moving until you get the determined number of buttons you want to cut from that shell. This size shell here, you'd probably cut larger buttons than this here one here. You can also use tongs, put these oblong shells in, and go through the same process. We have a trough in front of the machine here because there's a lot of water running down here, and the water runs down into the trough and is dispersed down out of the factory. And we also, these cut shells, we just put them down in here, and when we get a big pile of shells, we have to stop and remove the shells, and then you can start all over again. In my hand, these are called button blanks. Some are real large, and some of them are medium, and then we also have blanks that are real small. And out of those real small ones, they manufacture what we call baby buttons, and they're probably used on a lot of the baby's clothes. One of the things about cutting buttons, you're always in water. You generally wore an apron of some kind to keep your clothes dry, and water would be running down water would be constantly running down this hand here and then dripping into the pan down here. When we had accumulation of these spent shells, we generally have a pile yay big like that. We would take these shells and throw them outside and put them in a pile. After we accumulated so many, we had a man came with a team of horses and an old-fashioned wagon. He would take one of these here big wide forks, and he would scoop those up and put them in that wagon, and they would deliver them to a man over along the river there, where he disposed of them and made different things out of them. This machine has a motor behind it and just to pull it down there. This particular machine was probably used in someone's basement at home or a shed. A lot of these individual machines were set up around Muscatine where men, maybe in the evening, they had a supplement income. So that's why this machine is set up like so. But this part of the machine is like the ones in the picture, and they're set up on one benches like that. At the end of the week, each cutter's accumulated buttons are weighed, and each man is paid per pound. This varies according to the size of the buttons. The button blanks are taken to a company which will make the finished pearl buttons. Weber & Sons were such a company.